Why do aquatic mammals, like whales and dolphins, have the same aerodynamic body forms as fish? Why do bird wings have the same general shape and physiological utility as bat wings? Why do niche-specific marsupials and placental mammals have such similar body forms? The answer to all of these questions is convergent evolution. Convergent evolution occurs when two otherwise unrelated species, literally they would be distantly related species, when these species occupy the same ecological niche in their respective habitat, or they live in some similar condition where the same evolutionary pressures are working against each species. Whales and dolphins have a similar aerodynamic body form as fish, because they all live in the water, and having a streamlined body shape really helps to reduce drag, and it improves the energy efficiency of just swimming around. Similarly, birds and bats have both evolved to fly, and so they both feel the same air pressure, the same wind forces, and they've evolved a similar shape to their wings to efficiently move through the atmospheric fluid. Placental mammals and marsupials are both very diverse groups, but if you look at the species of each that share a particular niche, they've evolved remarkably similar body forms. Look in the forest canopy for the spotted cuscus and the very similar lemur, or look in the ground to see burrowing moles with remarkably similar nugget-shaped bodies, with stubby necks, short limbs, and broad digging paws. These are all examples of convergent evolution. It is the forces of nature shaping the biochemical superstructures into their most effective and efficient forms, and when exposed to the same selective pressures, these forms, or at least the functions, are the same. And here we get to the day's news, which is all about a species of sea snake having undergone a kind of convergent evolution to produce gill tissue for breathing underwater. Specifically, this is the highly venomous Hydrophis cyanocinctus, or the blue-banded sea snake, which lives in warmer, shallower waters near the coasts and coral reefs of Southeast Asia. The researchers noticed that the snake had a strange hole in the top of its skull, and this raised their curiosity. At first, they were thinking of residual parietal eye tissue, or some kind of crater of a parietal eye. But among the reptiles, the snakes are some of those that have gone the farthest in already losing their parietal eye. So it wasn't anything to do with that. But after dissecting and imaging several blue-banded sea snakes, they found that a large blood vessel flows through the front of the skull to feed directly into the brain. But now the question is, why? Well, they also found that the snake possesses a large clump of blood vessels in its face and on the top of its head on the outer surface of the skull. The study's lead researcher, evolutionary scientist Dr. Alessandro Palci, said, quote, "For the first time, we describe this MCVN, this modified cephalic vascular network that provides sea snakes with a complementary supply of oxygen to the brain during submersion." Unquote. So in a little less technical terms, what he means is that the snake has an unusually heavy concentration of veins, of vascular tissue in the front and top parts of its head. This vasculature is embedded under scaled tissue and is able to absorb oxygen out of the water in a way very similar to the gills of fish. Dr. Palci said, quote, "Basically, we found that this sea snake uses the top of its head as a gill to breathe underwater." Unquote. He also explained, quote, "While the MCVN is structurally very different from the gills of fish and amphibians, its function is nonetheless quite similar, in that it provides a large surface area packed with oxygen-depleted blood vessels that can efficiently take in oxygen from the surrounding water." Unquote. Dr. Kate Sanders from the University of Adelaide was also a member of the research team, and she said, quote, "Sea snakes have been extremely successful at adapting to a fully marine lifestyle, including the ability to absorb oxygen through their skin. This feature probably allows the sea snakes to stay submerged for longer periods of time, which further research can test." Unquote. So there you have it. Convergent evolution is creating sea snakes with dense mats of vascular tissue right under the scaly surface of their face, ideal for soaking up oxygen out of the water and feeding it directly to the brain and then the body. This adaptation makes the sea snake an increasingly specialized aquatic predator. The question now is, how big is the fitness benefit from having this head-mounted gill? How fast is the MCVN evolving? How big will it get? How efficient? Will it have any noticeable effect on the snake's external physiology? What are the consequences to marine reef environments when a particular predator becomes increasingly dangerous? As Dr. Sanders said, more research is needed. But for now, it's just an awesome little example of convergent evolution.